Welcome back to Cinema Corner. I'm Blake, and today I will be reviewing the final 2 episodes of Agatha All Along, which just dropped last week on Disney+. Overall, I'll talk about the entire series a little bit, but this primarily will be focused on the final 2 episodes, where we do get some questions finally answered, but in the classic Disney Marvel cinematic TV series, we get a lot of questions still unanswered, and I don't have a lot of hopes that we're going to get them answered anytime soon, or if at all. So to start, obviously these 2 episodes came out back to back, which made a lot of sense because the way the first one ended was a little bit like, all right, just get us to the next thing. What are we doing here? So the first one, we have Agatha, Jen, and Teen, or Billy, go through the final trial eventually. We obviously had the confirmation that Rio is Death and that Agatha and her had a relationship. Agatha kind of tells her, I'll set Billy up. You want him because Billy was able to escape from, Rio, Death herself, as he should have died with the collapsing of the hex. However, he obviously took over the body of William, I believe was the kid's name even beforehand. And so Rio is upset about that. She wants her revenge. She wants to get Death before he can basically reincarnate Billy as well, or Tommy as well. Billy reincarnate himself, and he will then get Tommy, is kind of his goal. So they make a deal. Agatha will be rid of Death constantly trying to chase her down, as she is tired of Rio/Death constantly coming after her. And as she said, once she finally dies in a long, long time, she also wants to never see Death. So in exchange, they kind of make a deal there. Jen and Billy are kind of talking and figuring some stuff out about, so Rio is actually Death, and they dated, and they're like, oh, that kind of makes sense. We kind of see them go to somewhat the final trial of the Witch's Road, in parentheses, Witch's Road, as we learn. But as they go in there, Jen learns that Agatha was the one who bounded her for over 100 years. She eventually gets her power back, and we see her disappear from the trial as she got what she wanted at the end of the Witch's Road. And then Agatha kind of helps Billy learn how to use his powers a little bit to kind of search for Tommy and help him find a body. We don't get full confirmation, but it does seem like he was able to use it enough to get Tommy's body into a dying teen's body. Again, we don't know if that's for sure. And like I said, who knows when we're actually going to get that confirmation. The way Marvel is kind of going at this rate, especially with these TV series, they seem to just kind of get forgotten. So we think he might have been able to do that, and then he's able to leave. We then see Agatha able to finally get her way out of the final trial as her and Death have their kind of standoff. Tommy, not really going to happen is kind of what I'm thinking, honestly, after that. I guess I'll talk about that later, but I definitely do not see Tommy actually being seen anytime soon, unless they're just going to throw him in something randomly, and we're not really going to get that full backstory. But either way, Billy eventually comes back, kind of helps out Agatha, to save her from Death, where Death kind of says, all right, one of you is coming with me. I don't care who. Let's figure it out. And we see Agatha basically sacrifice herself. She says she didn't really do it for him, but she sacrifices herself because Billy reminded her so much of her son Nicholas, and just dies right in front of him. And Death is like, all right, you're all good. See you later. And so Billy goes back to his parents' house and kind of learns that it was 24 hours roughly is how long he was gone with the whole Witch's Road trials. And along with that, he then, which I thought was really well done, he kind of went through his room and realized he made up the entire Witch's Road. And we kind of got more of that kind of with Agatha, how the whole Witch's Road happened in the finale. But in that one, it kind of took you by piece, things in his room that he used to make up the Witch's Road in his mind and create this entire fake kind of trial, which I thought that was really well done. It kind of did little cutbacks of like what he was looking at in his room and kind of what he created in the down on the Witch's Road, and then some things of Agatha kind of understanding that was what's happening. And the connection of the things she was saying, and it all made sense at the end, which I thought that was really well done, which was nice to see. Marvel still has a little bit of something in it, being able to connect everything like that, but overall, he kind of puts it all together that he created the whole thing, much like his mother, Wanda, did with the whole hex in Westview. And then we hear Agatha's voice. He gets scared, and that's the end of the episode. Like I said, thankfully they put out the next one right away, because I feel like my review for that one would have been a little tough without getting the next one right away, as it was seemingly, you could tell that something else had to happen, just because it was kind of wrapping up in a way that I was like, okay, this feels rushed. I wasn't really thinking about the fact that there was another episode, but I was just like, this doesn't really seem like it answers everything. And then the next episode, unfortunately, doesn't really help with that, as we spend, I think the finale was 41 minutes, the last episode, and we spent probably at least 20 of that getting entire backstory of Agatha and her son Nicholas, and everything that happened with her and Death making a deal of, oh, Death will leave us alone, and her kind of just teaching Nicholas a little bit like, hey, I kill witches is what I do. He kind of just lives that life with her. And yeah, if I was to have to ask Marvel, here's a bunch of things I really want to know what's going on. There's about a million things I would have wanted before getting probably half that episode on the backstory of Nicholas Scratch and his death. And even if we just focus on just that whole thing, I mean, the actual confirmation of what's going on with Wanda, obviously Agatha touched on this, but I don't trust Agatha's word. I need to see something. Obviously what's going on with the Vision kind of at the end of WandaVision. Don't really know what goes on with that. Like I said, confirmation on Billy, I mean. I don't have a lot of faith that we're going to see kind of that Billy and Tommy reunion, because I don't think Marvel knows when they're even going to do that. So would like to know what happened with Tommy. Is he actually alive now? Even a Jimmy Woo appearance, I would have been more okay with spending 20 minutes on that instead of watching Agatha's background with her kid that I don't care about, as Agatha's basically dead and I don't care about her son. So that to me was just a huge waste of the finale. I don't know why I spent what felt like at least half the episode doing that backstory. I don't know if that's accurate, but it's got to be pretty close. So we start with that whole backstory, and then we see at the end Death eventually gets him, allegedly. We didn't even officially see that, so I was like, that's cool. Once again, classic Marvel finale, just cutting out anything that would actually be somewhat interesting. Shout out Moon Knight. But yeah, I did not care for that. We kind of see that Agatha's a ghost, and she kind of just talks to Billy, and was like, hey, yeah, I'm a ghost now. I can kind of help you out. That's about it. They say how they killed their covens. She kind of walks him through the fact that, yeah, you created the whole Witch's Road. I basically used the Witch's Road as just a whole thing to trick witches into coming to me, and then doing a spell and being like, oh, it didn't work because of you guys. So they use their power and I can kill them. It's like, cool. I don't really care that Agatha was killing witches a long time ago. That doesn't affect anything for anything ever moving forward. The past of Marvel, nothing. Just stupid. But yeah, they basically are like, oh, maybe we should team up because I kill everyone in my coven and you kill everyone in your coven, plus Agatha's dead. And then they kind of just walk away. And it's like, okay, well, like I said, I don't trust Marvel that I'm actually going to see Billy and Tommy kind of be reunited, unless it's going to be some horrible post-credit scene where they're just together randomly. Do I think there's some kind of Wiccan TV series in the works? Maybe in 5 to 6 years we might see something. So yeah, I just felt this series just kind of went downhill for me, honestly. It started off, the first episode was the worst things Marvel has ever put out. I thought the first episode was horrible. Even once you kind of understand why Agatha was the way she was in the first one, I still don't think that episode was all that good. And then it kind of just went downhill from there, because it was climbing a little bit with some of the Witches Road trials and stuff, and then it just kind of slowly went down and was a little, and then these last 2 episodes I think were just kind of the nail in the coffin for a forgettable series, which is trying to build towards something that I don't think we'll ever see the finished product of. So yeah, I mean, overall, I thought Aubrey Plaza's death, once again, as a lot of people know, with the Infinity Gauntlet series, kind of Thanos' main reason for the killing of half the universe was to impress Death, which we didn't get, which I thought was really good, his reasoning in the Avengers series. But now the fact that we just brought Death into it, it's a little bit like, okay, she technically could have been there earlier, which I'm fine with, though, because I didn't think she was a good character at all. So I guess I'm fine with that part, but I'm like, okay, I get Death is now a character in the MCU. Will we see her again? I don't know. We haven't seen, Vision at the end of WandaVision since that series came out, so I doubt Death will actually play a factor in anything moving forward. But Agatha was relatively forgettable for this all-powerful witch. She didn't have her powers for the entire series, basically. She finally gets them, and then she dies. So that was just like, okay, whatever. I guess we'll see what she kind of does with Billy / Wiccan. She's going to be a ghost mentor, apparently. And they're going to try to find Tommy, I guess. Like I said, don't really have a lot of confidence we're going to see that anytime soon, or at all. But yeah, I just feel like this series really went pretty downhill, and that's just kind of the staple of I don't know what the MCU TV series little cinematic universe is called, but that's kind of the calling card. Is you think it might be good, and then it always just lets you down. The finales have all been pretty horrible for the most part. Loki was not bad. Loki season 2, which was the finale of that show, that one was pretty good, but besides that, I mean, pretty much everything else has not been good. And for the most part, they all just kind of lead you with some kind of big cliffhanger thing at the end that we never see touched about again. So just kind of the staple of lazy Marvel writing of like, oh, we got to keep interest. And it's like, you don't answer any of these questions anytime soon. So I don't care anymore. So yeah, I would say just kind of the last 2 episodes, I guess I kind of do them individually. I would rate the second to last episode somewhere like a 6.16 flat out of 10. It wasn't anything special. It did seem like it was maybe going to lead to something somewhat interesting. But it was kind of just whatever. And then the last one definitely was like a 4 out of 10 for me. Like I said, when I spent half the episode on the backstory of one character who's already dead and another character who we're pretty sure is dead, I just don't care to learn about you at all when I know you're not going to really have an impact moving forward. So yeah, overall, I think Agatha all along kind of just fell flat at the end of the day. And that's kind of what's expected of Marvel at this point, basically. So those are my thoughts on Agatha all along, the final 2, and a little bit on the series overall. As always, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next one.